What's up, guys? I'm Joe. Today I'm talking about the new Alice Cooper album, Paranormal. So Alice Cooper is back with his 27th studio album, which is quite the feat if you really think about it. I mean, that's a lot of records. And in my mind, Alice Cooper is someone that's been consistent through the majority of his career. I think what's interesting about Alice Cooper is he always managed to keep with the times as far as like the genre of music goes, but always kind of was able to integrate his own style into it and not seem like it was too forced or anything like that. You know, for example, starting out in the 70s, he was more of like a rock, classic rock, blues rock kind of feel. He moved on to his solo career, starting with Welcome to My Nightmare, which created the spectacle that became Alice Cooper, the darker, more thematic, stage show-based band that he has carried on throughout the last couple of decades. And from that point on, he was able to really keep his music relevant. And he would let whatever was going on at the time influence his music, but not in a way that it was selling out or totally changing his sound or his vibe or the show that, was a part of Alice Cooper. But he dabbled in new wave and in like heavy metal in the 90s or glam rock, glam metal in the late 80s, which stuff like Poison. But it always manages to be Alice Cooper, which I always thought was really cool. So going into this 27th studio album, he's kind of doing something different in the sense of where it's more of just a normal record. For the longest time up until now, Alice usually does concept records. There's usually some kind of story behind it, some kind of connection throughout the album. And in this album, Paranormal, there really isn't that going on. It's really just telling these individual stories over the course of all these tracks on here. Music-wise, it's just like a fun rock record, which I like. Very bluesy. It has a lot of the vibe of like the old Alice Cooper band, the first couple albums. Getting right into it, the song Paranormal. This one's okay for me. Not the best on the album, for sure. I kind of find the guitar riff in the verses that kind of annoying. Otherwise, it's like a very proggy kind of sounding song, which was interesting. But I feel like this really picks up in the bridge where that different guitar riff comes in. I wish that was going on more throughout the song. But otherwise, it's an okay song to start. Dead Fly starts to pick things up a little bit more for me. You have a very cool riff going on, a very like marching kind of drum beat throughout most of it until it kicks into the solo later on. Kind of a cool lyrical theme, just that it's almost like a kind of existential kind of theme here, everything as far as like religion and saying there's some kind of higher power is just all lies, we're just dead flies. I mean, there's no kind of higher power, there's no kind of higher meaning. But it's kind of a thematic theme here, but over just a bluesy, hard rock song, which is pretty good overall. Fireball is the first song on here that really piqued my interest. It has a very cool riff. It has a nice kind of drive to it, like a good beat behind it that keeps it moving. Another pretty cool one lyrically, I was watching a video where he was talking about this one. The character in this one is dreaming about the end of the world, and they wake up only to find that it's actually happening. I think Alice Cooper always has a really cool way of telling like good stories within the songs, and it's usually over the course of the album, like I was saying before. And in that sense, I do kind of miss that on this album. I'm used to hearing some kind of story or like an overarching theme, and when you hear like little miniature stories like Fireball, it'd be cool to hear him flesh it out. I feel like Alice Cooper could write a great album about the end of the world and going through some kind of apocalypse type thing, and it would be really awesome. But I can't really complain because it is a good album. 27 studio albums in, and it's still like a good, fun rock record. I'll take it. Paranoid Personality, that was the lead single on this one. I do like the song. I like the bass groove behind it. Kind of reminds me of Van Halen Running with the Devil when it opens up there. Just like that boom, boom, boom. But then, more of a riff comes in. I like the middle part of the song. It's very brief. There's like a cool kind of guitar riff going on, and there's these like horror movie sounding chords on top. And it's very brief, but it's really cool. And again, like something I would like to hear explored more. Alice Cooper has always been very associated with shock rock and horror movies and things like that. So like that kind of influence would be cool to hear a little bit more. But it gives you just enough to leave you wanting more. It's a really cool song overall, and that part especially I really like. Next song, Fallen in Love, is another good one. Features Billy Gibbons from ZZ Top, and there's definitely a southern rock kind of vibe on this one, which I enjoy. Very bluesy, southern rock tinged guitar riffs going on. And you got Billy Gibbons on here if you're going to do like a southern rock kind of song. That's the way to go. You get ZZ Top on here. I feel like the hook here, I've fallen in love and can't get up, is like very classic Alice Cooper kind of wit. And it's not the most profound joke ever, but I just thought it was kind of funny. Him kind of playing on the fact that he's getting up there in age at this point, and it has that kind of Alice Cooper charm to it. And listening to that, I mean that's how I feel about this album. It's like for everything I like, it brings up something that I would have liked more. So for example, the I Fall in Love and I Can't Get Up, I feel like those kind of puns and those wit and those kind of tongue-in-cheek things are not that present on this album, except for that really. So it is kind of missing that for me over the span of the album. And moving along a little bit, the song Holy Water is probably my least favorite on here, along with like some of the opener probably. But I don't know, this song sounds just like a little too campy for me. Alice has delved into this kind of swing type thing before. It makes me think of Some Folks off of Welcome to My Nightmare. But this one is just like a little too bouncy, a little too I guess campy. I don't know. There's just something off about it. I don't really like how he sings the verses in this one. I think the horns are like a little much. Just like too happy sounding for an Alice Cooper album for me. The Sound of A is a cool song. And there's a cool story behind it. I was watching some interviews, and this is actually the first song that Alice Cooper wrote. And he didn't even remember that he did. It's so long ago at this point, lots of drugs, lots of alcohol. But he had brought a lot of the original band members in on this album, which is cool. And the 2 bonus tracks on the second disc, if you get the CD, they primarily feature the original Alice Cooper band, and those are pretty good songs. But some of the members are kind of sporadically playing throughout the album as well, alongside the new band that he has. The Sound of A was brought by one of his old band members, and he's like, oh, I remember that song, I love that song, let's use it. And they were like, you wrote this song. So it's kind of cool, and you could tell it was written like way back in the 60s. It's got a very psychedelic vibe to it. It's a really cool way to end the album. It brings about that sort of creepiness that had been missing through a lot of these songs. Mostly just like a straightforward rock album. So yeah, overall I do enjoy it. It's a fun listen. It took me a couple listens to enjoy it, I think. I think I was mostly kind of about it of the first 2 listens or so. But I've had it on throughout the week quite a bit. And it's a fun album. I'm going to give this one a 3 out of 5. Thanks for watching. You can check out plenty of more videos on here. Don't forget to subscribe. Thanks again, and I'll see you guys next time.